Hello everybody, welcome to my Game Week 7 team selection video. Feels nice that the wildcard is finally done with because that was an intense week of thinking, figuring what to do with your team, sleepless nights, pacing minds, etc. Yeah man, you might think we're nerds, but this is how us FPL managers work on wildcard week. You just have to think really hard, and I quite enjoyed it. Normally I have a team that settled in the first or second day of the wildcard, but the Raya news kept me unsettled until the last second, in fact. So often I was doing the deadline stream as well, and we were unsure what to do literally until the last 5 or 10 minutes of that stream. But hey, it's done, and this is how I fared. Pretty decent. The entire premise, as you guys already know, for my wildcard was I needed to find a way to fit in Cole Palmer. Because I just thought that he was really explosive. And yeah, man, I got the extreme end of the variance where I got 25 points compared to Saka's 3 points. And that just felt like me getting more than I deserved. And I'm fully prepared for this to sort of reverse to a significant extent next week, because I do think that the Southampton at home fixture for your Arsenal attackers is a prime fixture. Southampton at home is probably one of the best attacking fixtures in the league, if you ask me. So, I wouldn't worry too much if I was you. And I think things will turn out. In fact, I'll take you guys through my team first, and then I have a few sort of macro, larger strategy points that I want to talk about, which we'll discuss later. Right, so I went with my triple Arsenal was Raya, Gabriel, and Havertz. Raya and Gabriel didn't do much. 0.27 XG for Leicester, was it? But this sort of things happened because there were a few clean sheets that Arsenal got early season that were a little lucky, where Raya sort of bailed them out as well. So you just have to be patient. I have no problems with that Arsenal double defense as things stand at the moment. I got Rico Lewis in there. He was incredible in midweek as well, where he assisted a goal, if I'm not mistaken, and was just in and around the box all the time. Problem is if you worry about minutes, or you just think that, okay, he's become first choice and City are just visibly better. But if we get a league, because City do play on Saturday, that Lewis is benched, Mykolenko is just going to come in. Trent is in there. It's a big conversation to have, because if you're thinking about this team in alone, if you go down if you go from Trent to like a 5.5 midfielder or 5.5 defender or 5.7 defender, like let's take Poro for example, I can upgrade Diaz to another premium. So a Trent down sort of, and I was playing with Trent last Thursday, with no Trent last Thursday. A Trent down structure allows you an extra premium. So this team would have Palmer, Haaland, and either a Saka or a Foden. So you're buying 3 premiums. I had Diaz. He didn't do well. He played 70 minutes midweek as well. So a little worried about what to do if he's benched this week. And I do have my thoughts. And it's actually the thoughts that I have around Diaz are going to delve into broader FPL strategy that's in my head, which is what we're going to discuss later as well. Palmer did incredibly well. So really happy about that. I feel good owning him. I think people are not going to own him for a while now. So we'll talk about that as well. Boomer's Boomer. If you don't have Boomer, get him right now. He just seems too obvious a pick. Rogers came through with a, I'd say, fairly lucky 7 points because Villa haven't really clicked into 5th gear, but they're a moments team at the moment. They're finding 30, 40 minutes in a game where they're finding the moments, and there's enough quality on the pitch to take care of those moments. Watkins, Duran, Rogers have all come through in significant moments, which is what they've done so far. Haaland, Havertz, and DCL. Havertz had 2 XG. On balance of play, yes, that goal was lucky, but he should have had a goal by the end of that game anyway. Carvalho started and played as a number 10, which is nice. So the bench calls that I made, Mykolenko, Greaves, and Carvalho, they look fairly okay at the moment. That said, there is some doubts with Branthwaite's fitness this weekend, which has me a little worried about Mykolenko. I'm just hoping to start, so we don't have to worry about that. We decided last week that we're going to set some goals as well every week. So last week I was 4 points away from 3 million and 16 points away from 2 million. This week, I am now 9 points away from 2 million. And that's just going to be a target. We don't need to look at everything above this. Baby steps, week on week, we try to climb up the table. So 9 points from the 2 million mark is what I'm looking at. But you know what? I will take a gray arrow this week, or a small red, or a green. Obviously, I'll take a green, but I don't even mind a small red because I don't own Saka. He's very highly owned, and I think that game could be 5-0, and Arsenal could get multiple goals and multiple returns. And you know how Palmer got his points, right? Like a set piece, penalty. Saka could easily just do the same. He has got the routes to points, so I think he's a genuine captaincy option, which I'm going to which I'm going to cover later in this video as well. So yeah, I will take a slight red arrow this week if it so happens, because I'm just worried about Saka. All right, now this is something that I did, which was my Game Week 1 video, and talking to you guys and doing this team selection video has really helped because I've been thinking a lot about my team. I think, a lot lazier last year or last to last year because I was just think like, okay, my instinct's good. I've seen the games, I've seen the highlights, and I'll just pick the right players. And there wasn't much planning done. There was much churning my pathway done. And talking to you guys has made me a more responsible FPL manager, I think. And I think whatever the rank is, I think I'll be a better FPL manager this year because we're just verbalizing our thoughts a lot more, and I think that helps with FPL. So earlier we spoke about no predetermined moves, adapting to new data, zoom out and think macro once a month on you, which I do. I think I try to zoom out and think macro. We'll cover a macro point later, which are the new additions, which I'll talk about that. Long-term trends when selling big players. That said, we might need to sell big players if we're buying other big players, which is something I'll be talking about when I'm talking about the new thoughts additions. You can change your opinion multiple times as a content creator. This is to you, to content creators, to FPL managers. I think it's just fine if you change your opinion during the course of the week. It's all right. Feelings change, and I don't think we need to stuck. And sometimes content creators have seen it. I've been guilty of it. Doubling down on their opinions. Don't double down on your opinions. If your mind changes, it changes. Pay more attention to penalties. Pay more attention to finishing ability. This paying more attention to penalties and finishing ability is one of the reasons why Cole Palmer was in my team instead of Jackson. So I was thinking of Saka plus Jackson, or Palmer plus Havertz. And the reason I went for Palmer plus Havertz is because I just didn't trust Jackson as a finisher. He's been getting the chances. He's a good pick, etc. But Palmer's known as an elite finisher, and I just think he's an elite player. People sort of still weirdly underestimate how good Cole Palmer is. And I didn't buy the whole, oh, he's not getting stats, etc., underlying chance. I didn't buy the whole argument because why would I move mountains to get him? Because he was just playing central number 10, not getting pushed out on the right. I like that he didn't play Europe, and I just think he's an elite explosive player. Jokingly, I was talking to Baker about this, a friend from Above Average FPL, and we think of him as the perfect mix of sort of stylistically Kane and Ozil, where he's got the power of Kane. Like, his shot taking ability is insane, and he's got sort of the fluidity and the elegance and the guile of Ozil with what he does. And what he does, right, everything he does is goal or assist focused. Like, he's so invested and free and working towards the last pass or the last shot. I just think he's ahead of the game. He doesn't think much, and he's instinctively, naturally, just probably my favorite player in the league at the moment. And one other thing I want to add to this is pay more attention to minutes. Like, I was aware that Jackson's minutes could be 65, 70. That's going to be a consideration when we're thinking about Brennan Johnson as an option for Luis Diaz as well. So minutes are something that we need to pay close attention to. And don't rush into a player after long-term injuries. Wow, I'm just reading this again. And this is an important thing because we're going to be talking about Foden and Kev as well. So yeah, another addition. What are the new additions to this lessons to implement this season? I think this is something we need to revisit regularly. And these are just my thoughts. If you have thoughts that are not in agreement, or if you have additions, feel free to let me know in the comments, because I read all your comments, etc. as well. And it's just nice. I feel like I'm on this journey with you guys, and it feels nice to do this video. I do enjoy it. Pay close attention to big hitter matchups. So this comes from the thought where on Monday I was on our Discord, and Zoff was talking. Okay, by the way, just I keep forgetting this, doing this early in the video, but we're doing a lot of content. You're seeing at least 4 videos from us every week, and we sometimes do 5, 6 videos a week as well. So I really, really appreciate if you could just hit the like and subscribe button. I think what we try to do is just be genuine, authentic content creators. And our entire modus operandi is to arm you with information to make your decisions. Like, we don't indulge too much in our teams. Even when we're doing our team selection videos, it's about our thought processes and how we think and how we should probably be thinking. We are not always right. And how we can improve as FPL managers. And hoping that that sort of at least gives you food for thought and helps you improve as FPL managers. So that's the point of these team selection videos. So if you like it, just hit like and subscribe. We'd appreciate it. You guys have shown a lot of love early this season, so we are grateful for that as well. All right. So yeah, I was on our Discord, and Zoff was talking about how Palmer versus Saka was extreme variance. I agree with it. It was extreme variance, and I got the extreme end of the bell curve in terms of how lucky I got. But I also think that it is these big hitters that are going to be capable of these extreme variances. Your braces and hat tricks are going to come more often than not from these players who cost 7.5, 8 million or more. So I'm talking about the likes of Bruno, jokes, uh, Palmer, Saka, Haaland, Salah, uh, Diaz, Isak, Solanke, Son. So paying close attention to these players' matchups. Like this week, Van Hake was injured, right? So maybe we pay close attention to one of these matchups where a big defender is injured in a game like this. Or maybe we take notice of how Arsenal, for example, is probably, this is not truth, this is fictional. Like, I'm just giving an example. How Arsenal might be better against a deep block compared to Chelsea, or how Cole Palmer is more effective against deep blocks compared to open opposition. Like, if we start spotting trends and start paying closer attention to these big hitter matchups, I think we can put ourselves in a position to be lucky more often than not. Now, that doesn't mean that, we look at the fixture ticker and we say that these are 3 green fixtures for Palmer and 2 red fixtures for Saka, etc. No, I think we maybe need to dive deeper and see if there's any trends and be active managers when it comes to these big hitter matchups and try to chase those points. Now, it won't always work because these are really good players, and anytime you sell them, even in a tough fixture that you would have envisioned that you're expecting that player to not have as much of an impact compared to the other big hitter that you're getting, you will lose out on the points. But the idea by the end of the season is to be in the 60% positive. Like, you need to get those decisions right more than 50% of the times, and you're having a good season. So yeah, want to pay close attention to big hitter matchups, etc. Let's not be lazy about that. And second thing is something I think I was guilty about. I spoke about it earlier. Is always be aware of multiple paths and plan more so you know what you're losing out when you pick a path. Now, this came to my mind because I listened to Pras and Trout's video on FPL Analytics, and I just think it's a very important point to make because so there are 2 things, right, when it comes to FPL. A, knowing your chess pieces. What is knowing your chess pieces? Knowing the players and knowing the matchups. Like, you think that, okay, Palmer or Saka's expected points this week is this much, and he's this good a player, and he's capable of this, etc., etc. And this matchup looks good. So it's identifying the picks and players and knowing how good these picks and players are, and then planning your path. So A is knowing your chess pieces, and B is actually playing chess. What does playing chess mean? What your future transfers are going to be, what your paths are going to be. If you pick a transfer, there's other 30 paths that you're not picking. Now, this is something I never paid enough close attention to because I always was like, I'll figure it out. Like, I'm just going to pick the good players and FPL will figure it out. Now, obviously, that comes from 10, 12, 15 years of playing FPL and trusting my instinct and ability to figure it out. But I just feel like maybe that's lazy. So what I've done this week, and especially this season, and especially talking to you guys, is planned a little more. When I'm thinking of a path that I'm picking, I'm looking at other potential paths that I'm missing out on. And I think that's just important to do, especially in a season where we have the ability to save up to 5 free transfers. I do think there might be an edge because I do think that FPL managers might be too obsessed and readjusting to wanting to save too many transfers. So I feel like there might be an edge in actually being active and not being passive and just saving transfers. So there might, I don't know if this is the right answer. We'll find out. But I feel like maybe we need to just be wary of wanting to always overcorrect and wanting to always save too many transfers, if you know what I'm saying. It's all right to be a little aggressive sometimes. I don't know. Maybe there's value in saving up to 3 transfers all the time so you can make bigger impacts with your transfers, etc. But just make sure you're not overcorrecting. I think that's the main thing. So yeah, man, what I want to improve on is the playing chess bit. I think I'm all right at figuring out the chess pieces as long as I'm paying more attention to minutes, finishing ability, penalties, because that was a weakness last year. And we need to plan more, tinker more, and figure out our paths. All right, so figuring out our paths, what does that mean? It always means you have a sort of long-term fixture view at what's in the future, where are the players that you're probably going to want in the future, what are the potential transfers, etc., that you can make. Now we know that Arsenal have Southampton and Bournemouth away, which are two good fixtures for attackers and defenders. After that, it's a little tough where they got Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, Chelsea away. So I still feel like attackers is fine for these fixtures. And then again, they're going to great on a fixture. So I think Arsenal double defense is going to be fine. Villa have a good run of fixtures from an attacking standpoint. And Emery mentioned that they are focusing on their defense a lot more in Europe compared to the fact that they are in the league. So hopefully their defense improves. But my one issue with Ollie Watkins is I think he's probably on fewer expected minutes compared to the other big hitters because of Europe and Duran. So at the moment, I don't own Watkins, but I feel like I'm a little okay with that because I feel like I'm a little more sure about everybody else's minutes. That said, 60 minutes for Watkins midweek could mean more minutes for Watkins this week against a prime fixture against United at home. So, we'll see. But that's it. Villa haven't really, I feel like they're in third or fourth gear at the moment. They really haven't hit fifth gear yet. So I'm a little okay without Watkins as things stand because you can't have all the big hitters. Also, just be used to swingy weeks because at any point you're not going to have two or three big hitters, and that's how you just need to be toughened up, have a thick skin, and have the ability to take punches because you're going to see extreme variance and swingy weeks very, very often. Brentford are just great. So, I have Carvalho, Boomer, look fine for the mid to long term. Chelsea are interesting because a lot of people think that Palmer's fixtures right now are tough. Forest, deep lock, defensively done well this season, but I still don't fully buy into Forest's defensive stability because I feel like they've had easy fixtures at the start of the season. After that, you've got Liverpool away, Newcastle home, United away, Arsenal home. I do feel like Liverpool and Arsenal are the tough fixtures. United, Newcastle, Leicester, Aston Villa are good fixtures. And it'll be nice actually to just see what Palmer does in these games against Forest, Liverpool. Because at the moment, I don't want to sell him. After 4 goals, I don't want to sell him. A lot of people suggested I move from Palmer to Saka, but I've got only one free transfer. It's an interesting thought where I get the 25 points from Palmer now move to Saka because I think Saka will get 2 returns minimum this week. It's a thought, but it requires a hit for me. If I had 2 free transfers, maybe I'd consider it. But for a hit, selling one of Raya, Gabriel, or Kai doesn't make sense to me, so I won't do it. Crystal Palace are interesting because Eze is on my radar. I feel like he's post-hype sleeper almost, and I do think the Glasner will improve. So I'm keeping an eye on Crystal Palace because they've got a tough fixture this week, but after that, they've got a good run for attackers. Forest away, not good. Then got Spurs, Wolves, Fulham, Villa, Newcastle, Ipswich. So at any point, if we see Palace clicking, I think Eze at 6.8, 6.7 now, if he's continuously falling in price, might be a good pickup. Just want to monitor. Oh, by the way, these are teams that I'm interested in or players that I'm interested in from a fixture standpoint right now, which is why this is just teams that I want to talk about on the video. Everton have a good run for a while. McNeil, I mentioned that, by virtue of him being central, he will come into points. So he looks like a decent pick. Happy to be patient with DCL. Just hope Branthwaite's fit. Fulham I want to mention because if you're going down and with competing with McNeil and people in the 5.5-6 million bracket is ESR, and I think Smith Rowe is good pick. After this tough fixture against City, they've got a good rate of fixtures again. Villa, Everton, Brentford, Palace, Wolves, Spurs, Brighton. Now just saying these things, even though they might not be in my immediate transfer plans, is just to be aware what we might be interested in the future, etc. as well. So that's why I'm having this conversation with you guys. Liverpool, Ipswich, good enough fixtures. So Leaf Davis, etc. on radar. I have Greaves as well, so I just put this in there. Liverpool, tough fixture, but good from an attacking point of view. Crystal Palace away and Chelsea at home are good fixtures from an attacking point of view. Then you've got Arsenal, which is a tough fixture. So maybe you can get away without Mo until 9, but I do think that I will want Mo Salah in game week 10 for Brighton home, Villa home, Southampton away. So there's a part of me that now is putting a thought in my head that, you know what, Pranal, you need to plan for Salah in game week 10. So whatever path you pick, do you want Salah game week 10, 11, 12? I think I do because Brighton play an expansive game and these two games match up suit Salah and then you're bookending it with a Southampton away. So it makes us think about Salah. It makes us think about Trent because I'm thinking about losing Trent maybe. And it makes us think about Diaz. If he's starting, do we want to lose him? Because after 2 weeks, he's got a great run of fixtures, Brighton, Villa and Southampton. Either way, I think I want to prioritize Salah in game week 10. What does Palmer have in game week 10? Palmer has United away and Arsenal at home in game week 10 and 11. Maybe I lose Palmer at this point because United away Arsenal for 2-3 weeks. I will need to lose Palmer. So yeah, we'll think about that path because I want Salah in Game Week 10. City have a great run of fixtures right now. Fulham at home, Wolves away, Southampton at home, Bournemouth away, Brighton. And Foden's in my thoughts, right? Because he was amazing midweek. I think when he's being played central, he's a goal and assist machine. If you have an easy path to Foden right now, I'd do it. I wouldn't sell Saka though. Don't sell Saka. Saka's great this week, but I want him. The only caveat is what happens when De Bruyne is back after the international break. How does he fit De Bruyne and Foden in the team? That's a worry. But I feel like Foden's run is just starting, and I like the start of the fixture. So if you can find a way to Foden without a hit this week, maybe I'm open to it. I don't think it's a bad idea. United, this is interesting because in Game Week 8, we might have Thomas Tuchel as our manager or any other manager. And if that's the case, there might be like a new manager bounce on Tuchel, especially is defensively good. So, they do have a good run of fixtures. And if we have a new manager and new manager bounce incoming, it's interesting. And Spurs. Spurs are Brighton, West Ham, Palace, Villa, Ipswich. Good run for attackers. Solanke, Son on my radar. Porro on my radar because I do believe they've improved defensively. So this is it. Just taking a purview of fixtures, knowing what we might need in the future. Immediately, the teams that I maybe want to prioritize right now are City, Liverpool in Game Week 10 is something we need to take note of. Spurs, I think. These are the teams that I want to prioritize right now. Yeah. So that's basically what we're going to do. We cover the big hitter matrix in the pod. This is something we're going to follow very closely. You're going to see this on the team selection video that I do pretty regularly as well, where we just take note of these runs, etc. as well, and pay closer attention to matchups, which is what I said. That takes me to my team. At the moment, I just have one free transfer, and I have 3 potential moves if Luis Diaz is benched. Okay, now I'll take you through what my thought process and my selection and my thinking is. If Luis Diaz is benched, I can just bench him and play Carvalho against Wolves at home because it seems like he's starting at the moment. It seems like that shouldn't be a problem. That said, if Norgard is fit, one person in midfield will lose out on their position. So I do worry if Carvalho is the guy that loses his position because Damsgaard's been good as well. So, but what does just benching Luis Diaz give us if he's leaked to not start is it gives us a week to accumulate one more transfer. I'll have 2 free transfers next week. Post the international break, it's always handy post international break in case there are injuries. It gives us more information on Diaz. It gives us more information on everybody else because FPL is such a dynamic game where information changes constantly week on week. Not so much with the big hitters, but just generally how you're assuming. One injury changes the perception of a team, so it's always nice to save a transfer from that perspective. The other option that I have is I could just move Diaz to Brennan Johnson. We discussed about how Brennan Johnson has good fixtures in the short to mid-term. Spurs look really, really attacking. Brighton is a good starting point for Brennan Johnson. The problem is I think his minutes are like at 70 minutes at the moment. He's been subbed off in the 65th, 70th minute, 75th minute mark quite often. So he's not a 90-minute man. And if I want to have a Spurs attacker, my first choice is Dom Solanke, which is why I'm thinking about Havertz to Solanke in a week or two, right? So that's part 2. And part 3 that I thought of is, do I want Trent for this period or do I want an extra big hitter? So Trent is what you're going to see as Salah, right? So Trent has Chelsea and Arsenal and Brighton and Villa. If you think about it objectively, Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton and Villa are not clean sheet fixtures. They just aren't. And then there's City in 13 as well. My God, this is making me think about the Trent downgrade. Maybe the right week to do it is next week. But a Trent downgrade is on the cards if you're thinking about it, right? So what the Trent downgrade allows me is to do Diaz to Foden. And actually, it'll eventually help me find more money for Salah when I want Salah in Game Week 10, which is Brighton at home. So, yeah, man. So, I'm thinking about a Trent downgrade, but I just have one free transfer. So, I would have to do Trent down to Porro. And I don't think Porro is going to keep a clean sheet against Brighton, which will allow me a Diaz upgrade to Foden, which I think is a good starting point for Foden right now. But selling Trent, who plays Palace away, which is a better fixture for Trent compared to Porro against Brighton. And then doing that for -4 points just doesn't feel right. So I feel like as things stand, my best option. And the thing is, I don't want to pick the Brennan Johnson path because if I'm doing Diaz down to Brennan Johnson, I'm not selling Palmer, Boomer, Rogers or Carvalho. It sort of makes the structure weird. So what that means is if I'm committing to Brennan Johnson right now, I'm removing the option of getting Foden in that spot actually in the future, which is why I don't want to commit to that spot. So in order of hierarchy, my current favorite move is to save or take the hit for Foden and then do the Johnson thing. The Johnson thing on paper is the most simplest thing to do. Yes, but it blocks that Foden path, and I think there's upside in that Foden path. And I think eventually I'll need that money in attack because I want Salah and Gaming 10 as well. So that's making me lean towards save at the moment. Captaincy is Haaland. I'm tempted by Havertz, but he doesn't have the routes to points that Saka does. So if you see, Saka, Arsenal have 3.05 goals projected. Chelsea 2.25, City 2.65. Fulham have been good. That said, City scored 9 goals against Fulham last year. And I do believe in matchups and certain managers being able to get the better of other managers. So I do think City are good for 2 or 3 goals and Haaland is talismanic and I'm not too worried about his minutes, etc. as well. So I don't have Saka, and plus I don't have Saka in my team. Forest are known to be defensively good. I don't want to chance Palmer against Forest as captaincy. I think Haaland is the better captaincy option. That said, if I had Saka, I'd be tempted to captain him because I think Southampton at home is one of the best fixtures in the league. Saka's got minutes. Saka's got routes to points in terms of pens, corners, set pieces. He created 7 big chances or whatever, 7 chances last week, and most of them are from set pieces. And this is good. Like it's almost like an assist of a set pieces is given for Saka, and then everything else that he does in open play. So yeah, man, Saka captaincy is a good option this week if you fancy it. Otherwise, Haaland's good. In my opinion, he scored a hat trick in the home game last season as well. So that's my thoughts on this week. Arsenal have the highest projected goals, then City, Chelsea, Liverpool, then Spurs. And Brentford are pretty high. So if Carvalho starts, I could get lucky if Diaz is leaked to bench. If Diaz is not leaked to bench, I will start Diaz because his floor is 20-25 minutes. Because even if Gakpo starts, Diaz will get 20-25 minutes. And I think I want to say because I don't want to screw up the Foden path. Will I get tempted to take a hit? Earlier, last year, me would have probably been tempted, what, screw it. The value of also taking a hit is your transfer ahead in terms of how you want team structure to look. And I do think eventually I will downgrade Trent. I don't know, man. If he pulls a 15-pointer this week, it'll be easier said than done. But it's just nice to verbalize our thoughts, and that's where I am. Do I start if Lewis is leaked to not start? Do I start Everton, who've got 17% clean sheets odds, or Ipswich, who've got 16%? Like it's stinky at West Ham. Maybe you should Grease, but Mykolenko has more attacking threat. So that's a decision for me to as if Lewis is leaked to start. So yeah. That's my team selection video. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this video helps. Let me know if you agree with my thoughts. And see you next week. Hit the like and subscribe button. And let me know what you think in terms of the path I should take. I hope you enjoyed this video. And take care, guys.